What's up, W8TRAIN family? This is John, and today I'm going to be taking you through how to set up your own macro-based diet.
3, 2, 1, 0, 0.
Alright guys, so this is part 4 of the W8TRAIN Nutrition 101 Macros and Calories series. So in the first episode, if you guys missed that, we covered basically how to set up your calories and macros based on your body weight and also based on your goals such as bulking, maintaining, or cutting. In part 2, we focused on some good cutting foods to throw into your diet, and part 3, we focused on some good bulking foods to throw in your diet. So I'm going to take us through a hypothetical athlete and show how we might set up his actual meals. You know how to do the whole day? Now we're going to break it down into chunks for the meals. So for today's video, I'm going to be focusing on breakfast, but you can use what I show you here and apply that to all your other meals. So let's take an athlete, let's say they weigh 200 pounds. We're then going to need to break down this 200 pounds based on what their goal is. Are they going to need the least amount of calories because they're cutting? Are they going to need somewhere in the middle because they are maintaining? Or are they going to need a lot of food because they are bulking? Now, based off of these three ranges, it's going to change how much they take in. Their fats and their proteins are actually going to stay pretty much the same. It's their carbs that we're really going to ramp up if they're bulking or ramp down if they're cutting. So let's go ahead and we'll start with the easiest one. We'll do protein. And for protein, I'm going to say let's aim for 1.25 grams per pound of body weight. And we're going to do that across the board. For protein, it's just going to be the same each one. So if you're cutting 1.25, that's going to be 250 grams of protein a day. Same thing if you're maintaining, 250 grams of protein a day. Bulking, 250 grams of protein a day. That's going to cover our protein needs. Next, we're going to look at fats. So for fats, I want to see about 0.4 grams per pound of body weight for each one of these examples for this athlete. So 200 times 0.4, that's going to give us 80 grams of fat for each one of these base meal plans. Now realize this is where you would start. And then going forward, if you're bulking and whatever we set up here isn't enough, you just add some more to either the fats or the carbs. And if you're cutting, you might not want to take away too much of the fats, but you take away some more of the carbs. So finally, we are going to need to set up our carbs. Now the carbs are going to really depend upon what we have coming from the rest of the diet. Now I've made this pretty easy. The protein and the fat are even for each one of these. So what we can do is we can take out a calculator or do it in our head and find out just how much protein is going to be giving to our total calories for the day. So protein, we have 250 grams. If you remember from the first video, there's 4 calories per gram. So 250 times 4, that means there's going to be 1,000 calories per day coming from protein. And with fat's a little bit higher. Remember, there's 9 calories per gram of fat. 9 times 80 is going to be 720. So if we take our 9 times 80, which is 720, plus our 250 times 4, which is 1,000, that gives us 1,720 total calories coming from protein and fats. So then the rest of our diet is going to be left up to carbs to hit our calorie goals for the day. Now, when you are cutting, you might get as low as 10 calories per pound of body weight. When you're maintaining, you might be around 15 calories per pound of body weight. And when you are bulking, you might get up to around 20 calories per pound of body weight. So we can do the math real quick and find out exactly how many calories you need a day, cutting, maintaining, or bulking. So if you're cutting, you need 200 times 10. So if you're cutting, you need 2,000 calories a day. If you're maintaining, you need 200 times 15. So maintaining, you would need 3,000 calories per day. And if you're bulking, you need 20 times 200, which is going to be 4,000 calories per day. what we're going to do is we're going to take our calories per day for each example and subtract what you're already going to be getting from proteins and fats. So if we are this cutting individual, we're going to minus the 1720. Same thing if you're maintaining, same thing if you're bulking. We need to find out how many calories you get per day and then subtract the calories coming from our proteins and our fats. So 2000 minus 1720, that's going to leave us with 280 calories coming from carbs. If you're maintaining, we have 3000 minus 1720, which is going to be 1280 calories coming from carbs. And if you're bulking, we have 4000 minus 1720, which is going to be 2280 calories coming from carbs. Now, this is just calories from carbs. This isn't carbs. So we need to divide each of these, divide them by 4 to find out how much actual grams of carbs we can get per day. So in our cutting individual, we have 280. We're going to divide that. We take 280 divided by 4. He gets a whopping, or she gets a whopping 70 grams of carbs per day. Not a ton of carbs. If you're getting really close to a show, this might be a reasonable diet for what it's going to look like the last couple weeks before you're on stage. But I wouldn't necessarily, if I'm cutting, jump right into this. This is kind of like the lower end for cutting. You might want to start at the maintaining and slowly work up towards this number here. So if you're maintaining, we have our 1280 calories left over. For carbs, divide that by 4. You're going to get 320 grams of carbs per day. So 320. And then if you're bulking, we're going to take our 2280, get a lot of carbs if you're bulking, and we are going to divide that by 4, and you get 570. So a lot of carbs if you're bulking, 570 grams. So now that we see this, what we're going to do is we're going to run through breakfast. I'm going to pull it up on MyFitnessPal and show you guys how I might plug and play with the numbers. It's a lot of guess and check work, but then once you get your meals set up for one day, you can just copy them over to the next and you already have them. But we're going to take the proteins, the fats, and the carbs, and I'm going to say you want to aim for at least 4 meals a day, or at a bare minimum 4 protein feedings per day. How you hit those protein feedings is up to you. And what I mean by that is you could either do 4 meals where that protein is equally spread out. You could do 5 or 6, but I would say at a bare minimum do 4. Or you could do like 3 regular meals and add a protein shake in there somewhere. That way you're making sure that you get protein in your body at least 4 times throughout the day, somewhat spread out. Every 3 to 4 hours would be great. So let's just say we are going to take our cutting individual and we're going to set up his proteins, fats, and carbs for his each meal, or her each meal. We're going to do, and I said we're going to do 4 meals a day, so 250 divided by 4, we need about 62 grams of protein each meal. Okay, so divide this by 4, and that's going to be 62 grams. For his or her fats, we're going to do 80 divided by 4, which is 20 grams. And then for the carbs, we're going to do 70 divided by 4, which is 17.5 carbs. Not a whole lot of carbs for this. Now remember, the rest of the numbers are going to kind of carry down. The 62 is also going to be here, and it's also going to be here. The 20 is also going to be here. It's also going to be here, because we keep our proteins and fats very, very similar based on our body weight. Otherwise, we don't really change those a whole lot. So then we got to do the rest of the math for the carbs. We're going to take 320. We're going to divide this by 4 to get our carbs for our maintaining person for each meal. So 320 divided by 4 is going to be about 80 grams of carbs per meal. And for our bulker, they get a lot. They get 570 divided by 4, which is 142-ish grams of carbs per meal. So I hope this didn't confuse you guys. Hope you're still with me here. It's a lot of information. I'm trying to run through multiple examples, but if you guys have any questions, please reach out. So I'm going to pull up a screen recording right now of MyFitnessPal, and I'm going to show you guys just how I might set it up. So for our cutting individual, they need 62 protein, 20 fats, 17 carbs. Not a whole lot to work with. We're saying this is breakfast. I might make them like some sort of smoothie and see if we can fit that stuff in there. So we're probably going to want to add some protein powder. That would be a good start. You could also use something like If you're not vegan, you could use egg whites, something along those lines. It's just high in protein, low in fats, low in carbs. Next, I'm going to say let's add some healthy fats. Let's add some almond butter. And it's really a lot of guess and check work, guys, so you can like plug it in, see what everything totals out to, and then go from there. And to get a little bit of carbs, I'm going to say let's do some spinach, and let's do some strawberries, because strawberries are really low in carbs, but they are high in overall nutrients. So let's see. Our protein just a little high. We're at almost 64 grams. Fat's a little bit low. Carbs are a little bit high. So let's pull these fats up. Get those a little bit closer. All right. They are just about on the mark. And now the protein is even a little bit higher, so we're going to pull it down. And then the carbs are a little bit high, so let's cut those strawberries in half. And let's see what we're working with now. So now protein's a little bit low. Gonna have to bump it back up. All right, we're very, very close here. Let's play just one little bit more. And guys, this really is a lot of guess and check work to move the things around and get them to set up the way that you want. I haven't pre-recorded this or done this any other way, but now we have 62 grams of protein. We have our 20 grams of fat, and we have 17 carbs. So that's about how you would maybe set things up for your breakfast meal if you were cutting. Granted, there's a lot of other options, but I'm just trying to find something quick and easy that you could make that would hit these macros. So next, if you're maintaining, we still have 62 for the protein, 20 for the fats, and we got 80 for the carbs. So let's go ahead and make this like an oatmeal type meal instead. So we're just going to add oatmeal on top of what we already have. Maybe take out the spinach since it's not a smoothie. And let's go ahead and see. We got some more carbs left over, so let's add a banana and get some carbs from that. So we are going to look at a little bit high on the fats. So we're going to pull the fats down. There's a little bit of fat in oatmeal, so you'll need to adjust your almond butter. If you're doing this, protein's just a little bit high because there is a little bit of protein in both the almond butter and the oatmeal as well. All right, so getting close. We need to get this banana just a little bit higher to hit that carb goal. A little bit higher than that. And you can leave the strawberries in. They are really high in vitamins, so no reason to take them out. All right, boom, hit it. We got 62 for our protein, we got 20 for our fats, and we got 80 for our carbs. Now for our bulker, if you watch the bulking video, one of my favorite things to eat when I'm bulking is cream of rice. So I'm gonna take out the oats, I'm gonna add the cream of rice. It has a ton of carbs, and we'll see, I'll probably even take out the strawberries because by then we're just eating so much that we might not want that extra food. We are very close here. I'm going to up the cream of rice just a little bit to bring the carbs up. All right, so now we are just a hair over on the protein, a little bit under on the fats, a little bit under on the carbs. So let's change this almond butter to 30 and see if that brings it up enough for the fats. Just a hair under. Let's go to 32. All right, fats are lined up. Carbs are just about there. We could add just a little bit more banana. And then the protein is a little high, so we're going to drop it down. All right, just to get the numbers perfect for you guys. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you're off by half a gram, I really wouldn't worry about it. But, so now for our bulker, we got his or her 62 grams of protein, we got their 20 grams of fat, and we got the 142 carbs. So this is how you would go through guessing and checking, because that's really what it is in something like MyFitnessPal, to figure out what you need in each meal based on your goals. Now, granted, most people aren't going to be down to 17 carbs per meal per day. That's really, really low. I wouldn't even advocate that unless you told me you were going to step on stage and you're like in the last couple of weeks. That's really unrealistic. And most people aren't going to be able to do this many carbs per meal when they're bulking unless they are lifting a ton, doing some cardio, a bigger person in general. So this is really a general guideline. I would always recommend when you're starting a diet, especially if you've never started a diet before, start in this maintenance phase. Do this for a week. Weigh yourself each morning of that week and see where your weight's going. If it's staying the same, adjust that based on your goals. If you want to lose some fat, then you're going to need to head a little bit more towards this cutting number. But if you're already heading towards that cutting number, you could keep it the same. It's one of these things where we're just going to monitor it and then make changes based on what we need. I hope this has been helpful. Please reach out if you have any questions. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and just know that I am here for you guys. I will make a custom video if there is something that I can help you with. All right, guys, take care.